Hey Taurus, this is Michael with your September 2022 reading. I hope that this finds you well. I was connecting with your energy for quite some time before I hit record, and I gotta say, Taurus, I feel like out of all the signs, you are probably in the best energy this month, which is quite interesting to me. You feel very stable, you feel very bright, and you might even be giving your light to other people or feel called to do that. It just feels like a very calm energy. And I'll admit, these readings have been a bit hard on me doing them this month just because the energy has been so turbulent and chaotic. And so, whatever it is that's going on for you, I feel like you're actually a lot more grounded than the people around you this month. So, just kind of keep that in mind. You might be the one who's kind of acting as a rock for other people. I did also pull some animal cards for you as well, and I have the beaver card, which feels like you are making strides and taking steps towards something, towards your future. And this is something that's probably going to be quite gradual, because whenever we see the beaver, we're talking about the long term. We're talking about things like home and career and legacy, what it is that you are building, not only for yourself, but for other people. So I love to see this. And again, kind of makes me feel like you are in this more solid role for other people. The beaver card is also interesting because it's kind of the balance between earth and water. This is technically a water elemental card, as we can see by the elemental symbol of water at the top here, this upside down triangle. But I really do feel like there's also the practicality with the beaver here, the earth element. Beaver uses wood to build its den and to build dams. And so you're letting your emotions kind of flow into what it is that you are building. And sometimes I can see this card as potentially like building a dam emotionally, but I'm really not getting the sense at all. And I also have the ego card here. And again, I'm not reading this card like I usually do. Ordinarily, when I see the ego card, it's this very powerful and maybe even a little bit scary energy of diving into something and finding the courage, finding the bravery. But what I really am tapping into here for you, Taurus, is this wisdom. It's this very high perspective that you have this month. And this is very, very beautiful to see. And even having the sun in your talons, the sun at your feet, it kind of reminds me of this radiant light that I was connecting to as I was channeling your energy. So I really love these two cards, and they're kind of coming in a different way than they usually do for me. So that's very interesting. I do want to pull some tarot cards here for you as well. And as we're talking about that, I just want to thank all of you who support this channel with your likes, shares, comments, and subscribes. It really is with all of your support that I can continue putting out these messages and doing this work. And of course, if you are interested in a general reading or a distance Reiki session, a personal reading or a distance Reiki session, you can find those links in the description box down below. I also kind of want to talk about the astrology here too. As always, I have links for the astrology blog on my website down below. This is just a really good way to kind of complement the tarot and also figure out what might be happening when. We do have a Mercury retrograde coming up this month. And for those of you who aren't familiar, Mercury retrograde is basically when Mercury appears to be moving backwards in the sky. This is an optical illusion based on where we are in the solar system. The planets never actually move backwards, but it can signify a time of disruption and a loss of control and miscommunications and misunderstandings, because Mercury rules over information and communication and anything to do with the mind, really. So there could be some errors this month, and please forgive me if I misspeak or say something wrong. I've definitely been catching myself doing that quite a bit, so double check what I'm saying here, because the words might be a little jumbled. Although connecting with your energy, I do feel a lot more grounded. Mercury is actually going to be going retrograde in the sign of Libra, and it's going to be retrograde until October 2nd. Mercury is actually going back into the sign of Virgo on the 23rd. And this is really interesting because there's a lot of focus on routines and on your wellness. Maybe there's a lot of focus on health or the way that you think about health. This could also just be a lot of communication regarding work, and maybe some miscommunication there as well. But what I'm really feeling, especially as Mercury goes back into Virgo here, there is a lot of focus on your passion and your creativity, and maybe even connecting with people from the past, people you dated with. Like, you might be hearing from those people. And that's not to say that you should or can get back together with them, but so it could be something that comes up for you specifically. I know that's kind of a cliche for Mercury retrograde. We do also have Mars in your second house, and this is giving you a lot of drive to create things materially for you, and it's very much reminding me of this beaver energy. And actually, the first card that we have for you, looking at all these cards, it's lining up actually with what I'm about to say. With the King of Pentacles in the past here, and with Mars in the sign of Gemini, where it's going to be for several months, there is a lot of focus on making your dreams a reality. And acting on your wishes, and almost like finding the support to see to your ends. And you have a lot of passion, you have a lot of drive. This is a good time for you to work on stuff, really the rest of 2022. So if you haven't done something this year yet that you've wanted to do or build, you can still do it, even if Mercury is retrograde. I feel like you have a lot of stability. And this card reminds me so much of your energy. This actually is one of your cards, this King of Coins here. And when we look at this rabbit, it's signifying fertility. It's signifying abundance. You already have so much abundance, even if you don't recognize it, or even if you're missing this abundance, because it doesn't always take material form, even though this is, the earth element, which is often quite physical. It's more about stability and security. And you really have been learning about how to move with the tides this year. And I think with Uranus going retrograde in your sign, some of this seismic activity that's been happening in your life is kind of subsiding a little bit. And there may even be some breakthroughs, some internal shifts that are happening now, that's kind of helping you find true stability in your life. Because true stability is not the same thing as stagnancy. I feel like you have a lot of growth here. Stability allows you to grow things. It allows you to try new things. That's what it means to be stable in this sense. I do also have Judgment and the Nine of Cups. I feel like now that a lot of you have had this sense of stability, or if things aren't even settling down, like you have something settled in yourself, I feel like there's this big call for you to chase or pursue your passions. That's something that could be coming up right now. And again, you are very abundant with the Ten of Pentacles here. I feel like if you've been struggling with money, it feels like this is a chapter you are stepping out of, and you are stepping into a lot more stability and abundance. But honestly, I feel like I'm connecting to a group where if you haven't been well off, you've still been stable, and it feels like you're better off than other people right now. And that was kind of the vibe I was getting from your energy before I even started. And it's almost like, what's the point of this stability if I'm not doing the things I love? Or maybe I'm pursuing stability. Maybe I'm pursuing money, or whatever it is that I believe I need to do or have in order to live the life that I want. Have you really been doing that, Taurus? I feel like this month is actually really asking you to live the life that you want, to build the life that you want, specifically with Beaver. And you just have so much perspective on things this month. This is so interesting to me. We do also have Venus, your ruling planet, entering into Virgo. And this is a really interesting energy for you because, again, this could be a very creative energy. This could also bring a lot of romance and love in your life. But I feel like it's a very practical energy. Venus is technically in its fall in the sign of Virgo. And why that's kind of interesting for you is this isn't necessarily a negative thing. It's just that Virgo can kind of suck out the romance of Venus, because Virgo is very practical. It can be very nitpicky as well, especially with partners. But it feels like you're finding beauty in the little things, actually. Because Virgo is so detail-oriented, it's so focused on the small and microcosmic. And it's interesting because you have this higher perspective, but even with the eyes of the eagle, you can see things from a higher perspective, but you can also zoom in on things. Eagles can really adjust their visual field to almost like a microscope, hone in on something. And I feel like it's really important for you to be grateful for the things you have had, the experiences you've had, the abundance you've had, because I feel like you're coming into this time where you can finally breathe and relax a little bit. And if you're not there right now, that moment will come. And it's almost like really interesting. The challenge for you this month is the Tower in reverse. And it's very interesting that this card comes out because the way I'm actually feeling this for you, it's almost like you don't know how to relax or ease into stability because there's always been this collapse. There's always been this downfall. There's always been this dramatic ending to things. And it's almost like you're learning to lead your life from a place of desire rather than necessity. Which is really interesting and actually giving you some time to kind of heal and replenish yourself. And it's like you're no longer playing in the defense in life. You're no longer playing defensively. You're no longer reacting to life. You're really asking yourself, well, what is the life that I want? How do I build that? And I actually do feel like you're making strides towards it. And again, I'm really getting a strong sense of legacy for you. That is a word that's coming in very strongly. And maybe this has to do with the fact that Venus is currently in Leo and will be in Leo until until September 5th here. I told you my words have been a little jumbled. With Venus in the sign of Leo, your ruling planet in the sign of Leo, this really represents the part of your life that is about roots and foundations. And I feel like you've really been planting roots. And sometimes this looks like building a home or moving or starting a new life chapter. And other times this can just be rooting back into yourself and back into your heart. But I feel like there is something that you're looking at with a great deal of pride, or you're asking yourself, how do I want to be in the future? How do I want to look at my life in the bigger picture? And I think that's why there's a change in the strategy with the Tower in reverse here. And the funny thing about the Tower is that this card kind of has a bad reputation. And I'm going to be honest, it's actually one of my favorite cards in the tarot. The Tower really does represent having walls broken down, almost by divine intervention with this lightning bolt. And it can feel like our world is coming down when we have this Tower moment, but it is also very beautiful because it can be quite freeing. And we are no longer stuck in the Tower. We're no longer stuck in something that's ultimately a little imprisoning. Even if it was built on wishes or founded in wishes, it's almost like something went wrong along the way. I feel like I'm connecting with a group who has had a lot of change in their stability. And again, we do have the planet Uranus in your sign until 2026, so there could still be a great deal of change to come. But I think what's happening right now is there's this radical perspective shift for you where you are realizing, again, I have to do something differently. The Eight of Cups. Some of you could be moving away or leaving energy behind. But I really do feel like this is also a card of gaining perspective on things. And maybe that is the energy with the Four of Swords. If some of you need a vacation or time off by the end of the month just to give yourself some time to recharge, I think that would be very good for you ultimately, because looking at things from a higher perspective, it's not about working yourself until you collapse either. It's okay to take your time with the beaver. I really love this energy for you. What else is happening? We have a full moon in Pisces that's happening on September 10th. And this full moon in Pisces is kind of affecting your social circles or your hopes and wishes. There could be something that is coming to fruition there, or maybe even something online that is coming to fruition for you. With the moon on top of Neptune in Pisces, there could also be this kind of reality check moment, and maybe that is what's sort of happening here. Like, oh, I need to act on my dreams in a very different way. I'm getting a very, bigger picture sort of energy for you this month, so I think this is less about friends and social media, this full moon in Pisces. For some of you, it still could touch on that, but this feels more about how do I realize my dreams? And maybe some of you are already doing that. Maybe some of you are even looking at your life right now and you almost have this smile on your face where it's like, I manifested this. This is exactly what I want. Maybe there was some kicking and screaming on the way to get here with the Tower in reverse and the Eight of Cups. But you're seeing this newfound stability, or you're seeing the stability that is to come. You might be dreaming of it. You might have downloads of things, or you might just be having a sense of going somewhere as you sleep. That is also an energy I'm getting for some of you as well. And then we have a new moon in Libra on the 25th, and this is very much welcoming your ruling planet Venus entering into the sign of Libra on the 29th. It's almost like a little bit of a prelude here. And this new moon in Libra, again, is a really interesting time for you. It can kind of signify a time to create new habits and to take better care of yourself, to do self-care. And some of you are really giving yourself permission to rest. It's okay. You don't have to do this all at once. Really allow yourself to rest and just let that sink in, because I feel like some of you have this sense of purpose. You want to make something happen, although I feel like as a sign, stereotypically, you're pretty good at doing things in a gradual way. And I think that's very much how you are supposed to be moving forward right now. And you're kind of letting go of some drama, and that might be coming from your friendship circles, that might be coming from family specifically. And we do have the North Node in your sign this year as well. And I talked about in the year ahead horoscope, so it feels like in many ways you are showing us how to find stability in unstable times. And there's a lot of focus on you. And with the North Node in your sign, the places where the eclipses occur, we also have the South Node, the other point of the eclipses, in the sign of Scorpio. And this does represent relationships for you. Your opposite sign usually does. And some of you are in this process of really stepping into self-love. And for some of you, this may look like leaving relationships behind, or having these patterns in relationships where you become very obsessive, because the South Node can be sort of an obsessive comfort zone. But it's really important that you are moving in a direction that is aligned for you. And so if you have a history of dramatic relationships, you are also being encouraged to really follow your own true north right now. I'm kind of seeing that with the Eight of Cups and the Tower in reverse. And leaving something behind or giving yourself space to work on things or to sort through things doesn't have to be an ending either. And some of you are learning that this month too. Maybe you've been in relationships where it was like, the moment one person took space, maybe that was you, maybe it was another person, it was kind of this calamitous event. And I think you're starting to see now, you have a lot of stability where people can take space and that doesn't necessarily mean anything about the other party. And even if it does, it doesn't have to be an ending either. And I do feel like a lot of you are spending some time for yourself, but that feels much needed. Is there anything else? I want to pull one more card here for you. I feel like there's another blessing that is coming your way. Is there any blessings? Wow. Okay, so we have the Lovers, the High Priestess, and the Five of Swords. So it's interesting because I think a lot of you are thinking about your love life and the past and maybe some patterns you were in, and have been working through your subconscious fears and beliefs relative to relationships. You are stepping into a place where you can have very, very healthy relationships. I do feel that. And again, like being very direct with this Five of Swords in reverse. Some of you, again, and certainly not all of you, I'm noticing the Six of Cups at the bottom of the deck here. I do feel like there could be some sort of reconciliation or reaching out of some kind. I actually did talk about that, and I usually don't talk about that in these videos. That kind of just feels like gimmicky when tarot readers talk about a person coming back, and it almost feels like predatory to me. You might be having some sort of conversation or connection from the past, and this, again, doesn't have to look like you automatically get back together with an ex or an old flame or anything like that. But it could just be you finding greater peace and greater resolution or closure from a past situation, especially revolving around a partner. But I do feel like ultimately there is something coming in your love life that you are sensing with the High Priestess and the Lovers here. And to really pay attention to what is happening in the shadows as well. I think you have a lot of wisdom and a lot of foresight at this point. Just be careful not to repeat patterns of the past or lessons from the past there. It's almost like with the Five of Swords, you're no longer approaching relationships from the energy of self-sabotage or choosing one person over the other, like choosing yourself or choosing another person. You're not in those situations anymore. You can have yourself and another person too, and in fact, you can't have a relationship unless you have a relationship with yourself. So this feels really healthy, actually. Even though there is the potential of someone coming back from the past, this isn't like a toxic ex. I just want to be super, super clear. I think this is you committing to yourself, too. The Lovers can represent self-love. It can represent finding peace with two polar parts of yourself. And there is a lot of duality between the High Priestess and the Lovers here. And so some of you are integrating something. There's a lot of integration that's happening, which is really, really beautiful and really exciting to see. But yeah, I do feel like there is actually some love blessings coming, especially as we have Venus in the sign of Virgo. So this is a really good time for you to explore and meet new people. And also, you know, if there is something from the past, or maybe it doesn't even have to be an ex or someone you were involved with. Maybe it's someone you just kind of casually crossed paths with before and your paths are crossing again. That's actually kind of what I'm getting from this group energetically. It's almost like an unexpected love or an unexpected romance is coming your way. And intuitively, you might be sensing that, but it's kind of under the radar. Or it's kind of not super obvious right now. Anyways, Taurus, those are all the messages I have for you. Again, very, very beautiful energy for you this month. If you want to claim this reading, if this feels like you, definitely hit like, especially if you've made it all the way to the end here. That's amazing. Thank you so much for supporting my channel. You can find all of the links in the description box down below for readings or Reiki sessions. You're welcome to check out the readings for your moon or rising sign. Maybe there's something that can clarify something else going on in your life. And I will see you all in the next video. Take care, Taurus, and have a very happy and blessed September.